Hi, I clicked onto today's tropical tidbit for Friday over here in the Atlantic. Nicole's gone. Up in here brought whole tons of rain, up to 2 feet in some places to North Carolina. Had wind gusts over 60 miles per hour at Cape Hatteras and areas around there, and lots of rain all and up and down the eastern seaboard. Big event, gusty winds. They got hit by a tropical event. This was a nasty one for them. Luckily not worse than it was, but the rain was a historic event, so you really can't get much worse in that respect in terms of the rain. Over here we got a lot of heat down in the Caribbean, a lot of heat coming out of the central Atlantic. The tut lows in here. When faced with a lot of heat, the tut goes bye-bye, as they like to do. As it goes bye-bye, we'll be ventilating this as it comes west-northwest over here, and you can see a little bit of a low to mid-level spin over here, and this is going to be coming west-northwest, and the Canadian and the NOGAPs try to develop this, and not real excited on the other models with this. We'll continue to watch it. Now that I'm seeing the center come this far north, it's going to come north of the islands, and if it comes north of the islands, it's probably going to curve out before making it to the United States because of the trough in the east. So this is probably just a rainfall concern for the islands in here, and we'll be watching this to see what kind of rain it produces. This is also pretty interesting back here. This has a little bit of turning with it. This will be coming up to the west-northwest at a lower latitude over the next several days, and you got energy hanging back here that's going to be causing some fun and games eventually down the road as well. Looking at the pattern by day 9 on the GFS, we see a big trough into the east over here, and this is the kind of pattern where stuff just like Invest 97L that we're seeing, stuff that comes out of the Central Atlantic, is going to go out to sea over here. But this isn't an entirely dead pattern though, because you see the height lines sagging this way. This implies that when the trough is in here encountering resistance from the Atlantic ridge, you're going to get pieces splitting off and getting into here, and what that does is ventilates the Caribbean with trough splitting over here, and then you see stuff like this show up. You notice the corridor of moisture headed out to sea over here with the trough, but look what hangs back, because remember, you get pieces splitting away, you get trough splits that come in here, and then you start ventilating the Caribbean, and you get things like this hanging back while the rest of the stuff goes out. You see the same thing on the European corridor of stuff going out, piece hangs back over here, and you see low pressure in the Western Caribbean by day 8 over here. So this is something to watch to see if this energy hangs back and tries to develop while this goes out. Perhaps it comes farther west, but you'll watch in here to see if something's hanging back, something for Central America to potentially watch. And then if we go back to the day 9 pattern here, we're going through fluctuations. When we're starting to go towards a cold PDO for the winter time, we're in a period of very dynamic flux in the pattern, because we're switching from summer to fall and towards winter over here. So the pattern is in a great state of change right now, and the models are trying to resolve it. If we look at day 9, we go to day 15, and we start to see the ridge show up again south of the Aleutians, and this starts to lower the heights in the eastern Gulf of Alaska, western Canada again, and you start to raise the heights in here over southeast Canada and northeast US. Sagging heights in here means watch the Gulf of Mexico for stuff being drawn up or homegrown mischief in this area of the world. And if we look at the anomalies by day 15, you can see the ridge restoring itself over the top and the negative sitting down in the Gulf of Mexico. And this is similar in many respects to the pattern that set up Hurricane Hilda that made landfall on the central Gulf Coast in October of 1964. And I'll deal more with that later if this pattern it does indeed involve this way. We'll have to see how it goes over the next week or so. But a little thing to look forward to, not really look forward to, but to be watching for, is this pattern to see if these things start to come back around. It's sort of in cycles right now, where we're watching the pattern go from recurving a bunch of stuff to letting stuff simmer in the Caribbean and then recycling and doing it all over again. And so we may have, after we watch this system come out in here and whatever tries to get going in the Western Caribbean, maybe a few days in there where we have a fairly quiet period, maybe a week where we have nothing much going on, and then by mid-October again we may start firing up the Southwest Atlantic Basin for another shot, possibly aimed at land. So we will continue to monitor the situation. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching.